For my French, y'all. French President Emmanuel Macron, a centrist, is putting together an experiment. And so far, it seems to be succeeding, so far. He is putting together, implementing the idea that the masses are tired of bickering, bipartisan bickering, and want politicians to work together on certain issues where there is consensus. And actually, I do agree with this part. Even though I am a progressive, I agree with this part of the equation. But to see, I think we need to take a look a little bit further in that experiment. So Emmanuel Macron appointed a prime minister. That's the way it is in French politics. And his prime minister is what you'd call in America a Republican. And Edouard Philippe. And Prime Minister Edouard Philippe appointed his cabinet. And there are people from both sides of the aisle in that cabinet. There are men and women. There are like a really balanced mix of both. There are career politicians and non-career politicians. So at first glance, it seems to be well balanced. It seems fair. The problem is when you take a deeper look into these people's credentials, you realize that the vast majority of them, whether they are former socialists, what you'd call a Democrat here, or former right-wingers, they all have an executive profile of some kind, a business profile of some kind, corporatist, a corporate profile. And this is where I have a problem. Because my experience is I used to be a correctional officer. You want to know what needs to be fixed in the prison system? Don't ask the warden. Ask a correctional officer or a correctional sergeant. They will give you the time of the day. The warden, all he wants is to be appointed to the board of pardons or the board of parole. If you want to know how to fix schools, don't ask the principal who's trying to get appointed to, get a superintendent's gig or something like this. Go straight to the teacher. He'll give you or she'll give you the time of the day. Well, that's what Emmanuel Macron should have done. Put, people with different backgrounds at the table where the decisions are made. But evidently, everyone has an executive profile, so the executive standpoint will prevail. Nicolas Hulot is an environmental activist. He is known for an independent streak. He speaks his mind a lot. That seems to be a good appointment, except if he is the only one at the table who tries to rock the boat. That's not going to rock very hard. Same for the idea of people from both sides of the aisle. You have, conservatives, liberals. At first glance, it seemed to be a good idea, except they're all corporatists. They're all people who are in favor of free, any trade deal. And Europeans, French, a lot of Europeans are very upset because European courts will reverse decisions that are made by their people that are democratically elected. That they really, many of them resent that. So then you bring people at the table that represent only the European Union standpoint. People who are, against it, they're not represented. Actually, nobody is represented from the Front National, Marine Le Pen, the far right, and nobody represents the movement from Jean-Luc Mélenchon, which would be called like a new deal, like classical Democrat over here in the United States, a progressive standpoint. This is not represented. I have a problem with that too, because that means what? That means that you put these two movements as if they were equally radical. Not so. Marine Le Pen is authoritarian. I think that Jean-Luc Mélenchon has absolutely nothing to do with it. But evidently both were excluded from that cabinet. So this is where I have a problem. This is not really something that represents the masses. This is something, again, that is make-believe to represent corporate interests, I'm afraid. We'll see as time goes. Voila.